All right, so this is our third and final instructional core meeting, and today we're going to talk about writing rigorous questions to meet the needs of our advanced learners. So as she flips to the next screen, just remember we're working on meeting the needs of advanced students, and we're at the part where we're talking about acceleration and enrichment. Just remember that differentiated instruction can look different in our classrooms. If you'll flip to the next one, we deliver differentiation through our content, the process, the product, and the learning environment. And the ones that we're going to specifically be looking at today are the content and the product. So we so far have learned a lot about blooms just with our pre-service prep, and then we also are going to be talking today about Costa, and this is Costa's three-story differentiated instruction question. So if you'll take a minute to just read this poem. So if you notice, with blooms, we have more levels in this. We have how many? Levels of bloom? 6. How many levels are here? 3. And so we're going to flip to the next page. So when you think about these levels, what do you notice? What do you notice as we're going through the levels? Yeah. And the higher up we go, what happens? Yeah, the more difficult, the more in depth, right? So let's compare the two on the next slide. There's a table, and it's putting together the Costa level of questions and the blooms. So take a minute to look over this as well, and think about how these types of questions are similar and how they're different. So it kind of is what you were saying, that as we're moving across, what's happening? Yeah, we're moving through, getting deeper questions, but the difference is the amount of levels, right? But you can see there's a lot of similarities there as well. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to do the Think Dots activity, and that's the one that you have on your table. And then we'll just talk through the second strategy and the third strategy after that. Has anybody ever heard of Think Dots before? Okay, so this strategy is one that's going to provide us with ways to, or to your students with ways to explore a topic. And for us as teachers, it's really helpful because it makes us think about a subject or content through different perspectives. So this is going to help your students move past just memorizing and recalling and do a little bit more deeper thinking. So on your Think Dot paper at the top, it tells you the instructions. I'm just going to read those for you. On your table, you each have a dice. So you're going to roll the die and find, well, let me start back. So each one of you is going to roll a die and get a different number. So for example, if Jessica gets a 1 at her table, then the next person that rolls, if they get a 1, they need to choose a different number. So basically you each get a different number. And so on your Think Dot paper, just write down the name beside the person's number. So if Jessica rolled a 1, you're going to write Jessica's name there. And if Laura Jo rolls a 3, you're going to write her name there, so that everybody gets a different number. Once you've done that, that's your number that you're assigned, and you're going to complete the activity and be prepared to share that with the group. So we're going to put a word up here on the board, and you're going to answer your question about that word, if that makes sense. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute to roll the die and get your number and put your name on it. And it's okay if you don't have somebody for every single one.
So what is it, a 3 or a 6? A 3. 4. All right. Well, we know what I'm doing. Daphne learns in your development. You have to roll into shoes. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a. Oh, there's you. Okay, fill her up. Kids. Oh, really? I get a mark money. What I got? You know what that's good. All right.
Yes.
Do you need to say what's the word? Oh my God.
All right. So as we're getting started, the word is on the board. Can you guys read that? All right. So differentiate. And as Kylie's going to move to the next slide. Now you can't see it, but the word's differentiate. And as we move to the next one, it's going to, if you're person number 4, like if you have question number 4, you're going to use this picture when you're doing yours. So you guys have about 4 minutes to try to answer your question the best you can, and then we're going to share out some of our responses. Yeah.
So I guess just use person shared. What you think about? In your opinion, is this word good word or bad word?
Variation.
Oh.
Yes, you do a variation of the word.
Work and do. What are your thoughts on that?
So use the word differentiate when you're
Read our own. I think I'm
yes.
Mark.
Because your word is
That's what I
is it a good word or is it a bad word?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I answered it.
Okay, that's the personalized learning. It's where they are. Yeah. Does it do the job it's doing? And which one are you doing?
The picture, which is almost.
Right. You're just describing the picture using that word.
Okay. But then it has to be one word phrases, right?
So I think you could write it like
some are just
a sentence or phrase.
And some are driving, so they're doing
Right.
different things.
Right. And just be sure to use that word in your response. You're showing that they're differentiating. And you can use a variation of that word.
I got it.
So I've got this one.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what would I?
So when
I guess can differentiation from each
So when would this word be almost right? So when would you be almost differentiating, and when would you definitely be differentiating, like in your classroom? Like when is it almost what your definition of differentiate would be, and when is it like spot on with what you're doing in your instruction? It has the concrete poem. So the concrete poem is where you draw the shape of it. Okay. Hey, you're still. That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so good word or bad word? I guess it depends on which way you look at it. What did you say was solely?
Individualism. What about enemy?
So this one,
That one's tough. Yeah. Yeah. So I think the way I interpret it is. The way I would interpret it is when in your classroom would you be almost differentiating? That's the way I would interpret it. And then when would it be like? That would be really hard. But like, what would be like? How would you describe it? It's like when it's the right word. So think maybe about something that a phrase or a word that would almost describe what we do. Personalized differentiation. And then when would it be?
Okay.
Which one did you have?
I had this one. What was your good word?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking.
Okay, I just said it is a useful word because it lets students perform at their own ability while practicing as like a team.
That's a good word because it's like everybody doing the same thing. I like that. That's good. That's all. I think it's actually mine because I was trying to.
What was your
To implement it where you can, because it is hard, and just to start off with baby steps.
Oh, I like it.
As long as some kids are getting differentiation that first year, then you're doing all right. 'Cause I'm pretty sure my first year, no one got differentiation.
But did she tell you that?
No, mine not.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I thought, look that one up.
Which one were you doing?
Like in your head, you have to
What's so perfect?
Yeah.
How actually like a good one.
So I had number 4. So let's look at this picture. And I'll let you share. All right, guys. So we're going to share out a few. Jen, would you mind sharing number 4?
Sure.
So you're describing the picture.
Sure. So for the picture, when I look at that, I think about collaboration. It is blended with technology and paper and pencil. Both girls are doing hopefully the same activity, but in different modes. They look like they're working on some sort of project or navigating or searching for answers.
That's good. Anybody else? What about who had number 1? What did you say?
I said that differentiation is a good word. It is useful, and the job that it does is that it personalizes learning and meets the kids where they are.
That's really good. What about, I think I heard this group talking about number 3. Sierra, was that yours? Yes. Again? So what advice would you give a first-year teacher about differentiate?
I said that just to try to implement it where you can, because that first year is really hard, and trying to get a grasp on everything. As long as every kid might not receive differentiation, the way that it should be, but just to try to work towards it and to do it where you can and to survive.
Yeah. And that takes time. Absolutely. To survive. And then let's do maybe, let's do number 2. We had something with like what word is this word soulmate and what's its worst enemy? That'd be good.
My soulmate was individualized and enemy was standardized.
Oh, that's good.
Deep.
Really good. All right. So hopefully you guys get the gist of this. And so she's going to flip through the slides now, and you're just going to see just different types of higher level questions that we've done, that we've learned about. Any of these you could use when you're coming up with your Think Doc questions. This is something great that you could use in your classroom to make sure you move from just giving those basic questions to some more higher order thinking questions. And so these are the ones that we've been talking about so far this year. Oh, I'm sorry. Right here, if you guys want some examples with it's the links on the top of your handout. You guys can go on there and it's got all kinds of different examples that you can use for ideas in your classroom. So you can access that resource.